Ah! That. Ah! Well, that worked pretty good. Boom! That's the one. Bam! Not quite. It wasn't quite the bullseye, but close. Right there. Love it. Love it. So this is my new boy toy. Now, actually, I bought the hatchet, the tomahawk, in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, a couple of years ago when we were up there with some friends, and but I didn't have a target. So I've had this for over a year and a half that I've had the tomahawk, but I didn't have anywhere to throw it. And I've been wanting to find one of these, which is a big slice of a log that I can throw at. That's, you know, the warrior thing. So we were at Big Bear this last week. My wife and I went to Big Bear, and we were at a place to buy some firewood for the house that we had rented, that we're staying at. And I just saw in the back, there was this big pile, just piles, I mean like a mountain of logs that they used to cut into firewood. And they were about to close, and I saw that and I'm like, man, I just wish I could have a slice of one of those big logs and it would be perfect. And so we came back when we were getting ready to leave a few days later. I said, I want to go by that firewood place again, and I'm going to get me a big chunk of log. And so we pull in, and I get out, and this young guy, probably in his late teens, early 20s, this kid comes walking out and he says, do you want some firewood? And I said, well, no, actually what I'm looking for is I'm looking for a target for my tomahawk. And so then I described to him that I needed a big log, about 24 inches in diameter, and just a slice of it that I could use as a target. And he goes like, well, he said, I don't think we have anything like that here. Let's go out and look at this pile. So he takes me over and we look at this pile of just junk, crap, pieces of, you know, scrap lumber or trees and stuff. And it's all old rotted stuff and broken and split and falling apart. And he said, would one of these work? And I'm like, no, I mean, I want like one of those logs back there. I want one of those just to slice, like they would take and they'd slice it and then they'd put it through the splitter to turn it into firewood. And I said, I just want them when they slice it, that slice. And he said, well, I don't think they're going to do that because the one guy that might be willing to do that isn't here today. And I'm like, well, who would we ask? I mean, let's at least ask somebody. And he goes like, well, I don't think they're going to do it. And I'm just like, I think he finally decided I wasn't leaving. And so he finally goes like, okay, let me go see what I can do. So he goes back there and he talks to one of the guys, and I see a guy come around the corner and he's carrying this big old chainsaw that's probably, I don't know, 42 inches. It's a long chainsaw that I'm like, that's the guy right there, because he's cutting the wood. And so the guy looks over and the kid's pointing at me, and the guy looks over and he puts down his chainsaw and he comes walking over and he says, what are you looking for? And I told him what I was looking for. And he said, all right, come here, let's go see what we can find. So we come up there and we go back to that big mountain of logs, and he starts pointing. He said, well, now we can do that one, like that one right there on top. And it was like this big around. And I'm like, no, that's too big. It won't fit. It won't even fit in my SUV. And he said, well, how about that one? It's about that big around. I'm like, that'll work. That'd be perfect. And it was a little smaller than I wanted, but the guy's trying to accommodate me. And I'm like, okay, that'll be cool. And it was on top. So he said, all right, so I'm walking back away so that he can get the big crane thing they use to pull the log down. And he goes, hey, hang on, come here. And he looks and he points to one. And he said, how about that one right there? And it's kind of up there. So he picks up a chunk of wood and he throws up and hits it. And how about that one? I'm like, man, that would be perfect. That size. I said, that would be perfect, but it's buried. He said, no problem, we'll pull it out. So I'm like, okay, cool. How much is this going to set me back? Now, the thing is, I had went and priced these at a place where they do wood, like chainsaw wood carvings, and they make wood furniture and log furniture and all that. And a piece like this is going to be like $250 to $400 for just a slice of wood. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. So this guy goes like, how about 40 bucks? Done. So I go back and we stand there and watch him get on this big machine that's kind of like a steam, it's called a steam shovel. It's what we used to call them when I was a kid. And what do they call that thing that has the big claw that has you dig a ditch? Bulldozer? Ditch digger. Well, it's not a bulldozer on the back, but it's got the big arm that digs down. What's that called? Anyway, we call them a steam shovel. And he gets this thing out, except instead of having a shovel thing, it's got these big hook on it. And he starts picking these big logs up and just scooting them over and moves over 3 or 4 logs, and he reaches up there and grabs this one tree that probably weighs over a ton. I mean, it's thousands of pounds. And he just drags it out, puts it down, gets his big old chainsaw, cuts me off the perfect slice, rolls it up. He grabs another guy from back there, and they put it and pick it up and put it in my car for me. I didn't have to lift anything or do anything because that thing weighs, I don't know, probably weighs 150 pounds. It's a heavy chunk of wood. And the whole time is this little kid walking with me, standing there kind of watching in awe, that did not want to do any of this. He didn't want to go ask, he didn't want to do anything. And I'm pretty sure, I don't think he was lazy. I think he was afraid. He was afraid to go back and ask because he was afraid he was going to get in trouble, and he just didn't want to do it. And I looked at him as we're standing there while they're getting ready to load it up, and I said, if there's one secret to success that I've learned in my life, it's always ask. And he looks at me with his big bug eyes and he goes like, yeah. And I thought, that's it. And it's such a huge lesson that for me, I was always afraid to ask for stuff. Ask for what you want. They train you in sales training. You gotta be willing to ask, right? The secret of life. Ask and you shall receive. But if you don't ask, you're not gonna get anything. We're afraid to ask because we're afraid people are gonna laugh at us, they're gonna ridicule us, they're gonna tell us no, we're afraid of rejection. That stops us from having everything that we want in our life. The secret, to me, of everything that you want is just on the other side of one action, and that is ask. And when you ask, you can always expect yes. So I'm gonna go throw my tomahawk some more. Let's go.